Are you ready?
Yes.
Why do you want to communicate with us? To be on our channel?
First, so that my relatives can see that I am alive, healthy, and also that I am negative about war.
If that were true, you wouldn't be here.
You know, we weren't really asked.
I hope it will be very interesting. So, let's take it from the top. Introduce yourselves, please.
Vladimir Leonidovich Zhdanov.
Do you voluntarily consent to the recording and publication of this conversation?
Yes.
Why are you agreeing to this? You can refuse, and you'll get nothing for it, and I'll go home.
I don't think it will have any effect on the exchange of POWs, but I want to make a point about everything that's going on.
Did I offer you a phone call in exchange for talking to me?
No.
Have we met before?
No.
What do you know about the Red Cross?
The Red Cross is a worldwide organization that promotes exchange and humanitarian mission.
Everything is correct except the first point, that they contribute. They don't contribute anything. They don't have that authority. For those who do not know, I will reveal a military secret. The Red Cross is a kind of mediator between two countries.
Warring countries?
Not necessarily warring countries. For example, the Red Cross is also involved when there is a famine or an earthquake somewhere. It is like an independent international organization that deals with humanitarian missions. When there is a war, like between our states, where you attacked our country, not a special operation. The Red Cross acts as a mediator. Its representatives communicate with our prisoners of war held by you and your prisoners of war held by us. The Red Cross recently published a report on activities in the country that said bloggers interviewing POWs were violating the Geneva Convention.
Why do they violate?
Because you cannot be shown on the internet, because they believe that only they can do this, only they can come to you as a prisoner, rewrite your data, give you the opportunity to write a note and send it to relatives, and so on. And in the best case, your relatives will someday receive this note.
God forbid.
Written messages, Red Cross messages, have been known to arrive 4 months late. In 2023, 4 months is a long time?
Yes.
Considering how long it takes. You're here and our prisoners of war are now being held under the Convention of 1949. How many years has it been? You're being held here under a treaty 70 years old. And if the Russian Federation had signed the modern convention on the treatment of prisoners of war from the 17th or 19th year, everyone could call each other. While in captivity, a prisoner of war could call home. Why do you think the Russian Federation has not signed the modern convention and lives under the outdated document?
They don't want publicity.
Quite right, they are comfortable when no one sees the prisoners. They are gone. If it weren't for us, no one would know you were a prisoner of war and you would be considered a deserter or dead.
A man is missing.
Yes, there are also prisoners who tell how they can go to positions for weeks, see the corpses of their comrades and not pick them up because no body, no pay, no body, no problem. If someone is being held captive, that's a problem. They need to be taken away, plus some bloggers are showing them.
The information is coming to light.
Your acquaintances or friends will see you. Even if we don't reach anyone, enough people will watch the video. Someone from your town will 100% recognize you, and the process will get rolling.
That way, by word of mouth, everyone will know I'm a prisoner.
Yes.
Then they'll start doing something.
You have not yet given your year and city of birth.
I was born on August 8, 1982 in the city of Cherkasy.
Cherkasy?
Yes.
Are you Ukrainian?
Yes.
I did not know about it.
I was about a year and a half old when my parents divorced and my mom took me to Gagra in Abkhazia.
Where?
Gagra in Abkhazia.
I was once in Gagra. There are resorts there.
Yes.
What were you in prison for?
For theft.
150.
8.
Part?
2.
Group?
No, it's from 2,500.
They use a different numbering. Is this your first conviction?
No.
Second?
Second.
Second. You are 40 years old.
41.
Yeah. How long were you in prison?
3 and 7.
3 and 7. What term of imprisonment did you receive the second time?
3. But I did 2 years and 7 months in prison.
Early?
Yes.
Where were you the first time?
In St. Petersburg.
And the second time?
In St. Petersburg.
Do you live there?
For the last 18 years.
What was the second prison term?
2 years.
How much time did you spend in prison before you were contracted by the Department of Defense?
11 months.
St. Petersburg is a big city, the capital of culture. What were you doing there?
I'm a chef by trade.
What does mom do?
She's retired now.
What was her profession?
She's a chef.
Got it.
This profession is in my blood. My great-grandfather was Stalin's personal cook.
Whoa, seriously?
Yes, my grandfather, grandmother and uncle were cooks at the 17th Party Congress.
What interesting stories were told about Stalin and the family of cooks?
They didn't say much.
Tell me what you can.
He was stern, strict, but, as my grandfather used to say, fair and sociable.
Of course he's fair. He repressed 5 million people. Such a fair grandfather. Good for him. Fair grandpa's favorite dish? I said 5 million, but I'm not sure and I want to Google Stalin's history.
He loved satsivi.
Satsevai?
Satsivi.
What's that?
This is chicken and nuts, served cold. A very tasty dish.
I'm going to try to assume that you repaired something and then you were accused of stealing it, but you didn't.
No, I stole a grinder.
Costing 5,000 rubles?
4,800.
6 months of investigation.
Yes.
You were convicted in 4 sessions?
There were 3 meetings.
No.
No, 4. I was convicted on the 4th trial.
What prison were you in?
In St. Petersburg, in Fornasovo.
What's the name?
Fornasovo IK3.
Is Fornasovo the name of the prison?
The village of Fornasovo.
Okay. What's the slang for that?
Fariki or Farik. It was 900. 700.
Tell us about when Wagner came to you and how it was?
I haven't seen Wagner.
Is it because they were already there before you?
Yes, that's right.
How many men did they take?
I heard 30 or 40 people.
When did the military come to you?
On the 10th day.
The 10th day of February in the year 23.
Yes.
Were the soldiers arriving in civilian clothes?
They were dressed military style.
In uniform?
Yes.
It's rare to hear someone say that. You couldn't see the military rank?
No, they didn't introduce themselves.
In balaclavas?
No.
No balaclavas?
Without balaclavas. One was normal.
In civilian clothes?
Yes, and the other was in some unusual shape.
It's clear.
The one in the uniform was talking.
I see. All right, what do we got? When? You said one key phrase in there that really stuck with me. How did the conversation go and what did they say to you? And another question, they didn't take the offended from you?
No.
And before that?
Before that, they were taken by Wagner.
Wagner could not take the offended away.
I think someone came to pick them up on purpose.
Department of Defense because Wagner doesn't accept offended people into its ranks.
Doesn't take?
No. So there won't be a riot. Okay. What else did they tell you?
They said that there was a special operation going on, that they needed volunteers for 6 months and that they would clear our files. We were promised a salary, a clean file and freedom in 6 months.
How many of you were there? What happened next?
9 people.
They were from the Department of Defense.
Yes.
What unit did you belong to?
Storm Z.
What happened next?
They said there would be negative consequences if I refused.
In case of refusal to go to war?
Yes.
You already said you can't refuse. Can't refuse what?
Not to go to war.
Then tell me what it was like. Your whole colony was there, right?
Yes.
When you were all drafted for the war, at what point did you realize that you could not refuse? Why did only 9 men agree to fight instead of 730?
First they selected people based on their health, their criminal record.
A lot of volunteers?
Yes, there were about 90 volunteers.
Ah, now it's clear.
It was about 90.
Who was eliminated?
We weeded out rapists, offenders, those with long prison sentences, health problems and the wrong age. In the end, only 9 people remained.
At that point, it was no longer possible to refuse?
Yes, it was impossible to refuse. There were 9 of us left, and it was said that if we refused, sanctions would be imposed against us.
Which?
In the form of imprisonment for a term of up to 10 years.
In short, they apply the desertion clause.
For not following orders.
What documents did you sign? Did you sign them there?
No, it's already here.
In Lugansk?
In Donetsk.
Were there military tickets in Donetsk?
There were no military tickets as such. We were not given any documents at all. Only some papers with a photocopy.
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt you. There were 9 of you, and you flew from St. Petersburg too.
Rostov.
You were brought from Rostov and you were under escort the whole time?
Right down to assigning a mission and moving to the front.
So you were guarded all the way to the trench. When did you sign the documents? Did you read the contracts?
We didn't read it. There was such a commotion after it landed in Rostov on February 20th.
When were you captured?
April 11th.
March, April. So you were at war for a month and a half.
No, it was our first assignment.
And before that, where were you?
We were at the range for a month.
Training?
If you can call it that.
Unlike Ahmed, they are at least trained.
We trained for 2 weeks.
Every day?
Yes.
How much?
First 4, then several ammo magazines.
What was your assignment?
Had to go to a position where they said no one was there.
In the woodland?
Between Mariinka and Krasnogorivka.
When did you go there?
We went there on the evening of the 10th.
How many people were in the group?
8 people.
Tell us what happened before you were captured.
2 foursomes moved out. First foursome first.
On the 10th?
Yeah. First 4 and second 4 followed me. The firing started. But there was no going back either.
Why?
Because they said, if you fail here, you will go to Avdiivka.
To Avdiivka? What's there?
I have not been to Avdiivka, but for some reason everyone is very afraid to go there.
Is everyone afraid to go to Avdiivka? Does this mean that many people are dying there?
Yes, something similar.
What kind of weapon?
Mortars and barrels. I think cannons are called barrels.
Yes.
We were fired upon, and with little luck we made our way to the appointed place.
Yes.
When it was almost dark, we went in there. There were your guys standing on the other side of the building.
Everything's a mess. Did you come that night?
Yes, we went out.
Through the building? Or did you have to take the building?
We were told there was no one there.
In the building?
Yes, the house was shelled. No one was there. Had to go in there and look, clear the area.
Have you had any walkie-talkies?
1.
Baofeng?
Yeah. The next day they said a reinforcement team would come in, set up and get us out of there.
Okay, next, at night you enter the building.
We go into the building and your guys are on the other side of the building. They were shooting in our direction and we were shooting in their direction. Didn't engage in aimed fire. Just held each other back so they didn't get any closer.
Was it in the building?
Yeah, inside the building. There was some kind of barn. It was some kind of farm.
I see.
The building is one-storied. At that time, the shelling continued, all from the same mortars. Then, when it started to dawn, drones with grenades flew. Grenades were thrown in a circle where possible. Not far away was your position, which was engaged in small arms combat. A little farther away was another position of yours.
Have you had it all night?
Yes, they fired all night, and then with the dawn the shelling also continued, only rifles were added. A little farther on, an RPG was added. Vogs were fired from there, rifle grenades from here. There was no help, nothing reached us.
Have you used walkie-talkie?
Walkie-talkie went dead literally 3 hours after we came in. And we were left without a walkie-talkie.
How many people are left alive before dawn?
All survived.
Were there injured?
Yes, there were wounded. We had one wounded man. He was wounded during the night and said he was going to try to get to his positions and left. I don't know if he got there. By morning the second four had not reached us.
Where did she go?
Don't know.
4 people entered the building?
4.
I thought 8.
No, 4 people came in.
1 wounded man gone, 3 to go.
Yeah, and this morning, another one of the other 4 came in.
It's clear.
But before entering the building, he was wounded. A grenade fell, and a piece of shrapnel flew into his side.
Did he talk about the others?
He said he didn't know anything. Everyone had scattered somewhere. There was no one left. He saw this building and realized he had to go here and came.
He was wounded, so he sat down in the hole that was there. Then we gave him a shot and he sat there the whole time. How did you get captured?
It was 11 o'clock and we were out of ammunition and grenades. Not completely. There were still 2 magazines of ammunition left.
You had 2?
Yeah. Somebody's got 1 magazine of ammo. I've got 1.5 left. No reinforcements. We know we can't get help. We can't get anything. No support from our leadership either. They've forgotten all about us. And from your side, a man responded. We said hello. He offered to engage in a dialogue and asked us to leave the shelter unarmed.
Was that our suggestion?
Yeah. He called himself Nicholas. I told one of our guys to come out and talk.
Why didn't you come out?
I watched to make sure no one was coming in from the other side. I generally thought we were being distracted to come in from other sides, and told him to get out. He really went out without a gun. Our people also put away their guns.
Ours first?
Yes.
Wow.
He was not afraid. My fighter also lowered his machine gun. Then they met.
In your foursome, were you in command?
Yes.
I see. So you ordered him to go.
Yeah. He came out to him. I lowered my machine gun too.
Do you know how many of our soldiers were there?
At first there were exactly 3 of them by evening. And by morning, judging by the voices, there were already 7 or 8 people. That means you've got reinforcements. You don't have a problem with that. I also put down my automatic rifle and went out. And I saw the guys standing with their hands up, and I raised my hands too. No one was going to shoot anyone. And they did everything honestly, as they say, in a manly way. They gave us cigarettes. We had no water. They gave us water to drink and said, "There were 3 of us, but now there are many more." We were told that another group was coming here now, and they knew we had wounded. And we had 2 wounded out of 4 people. They knew we had wounded, that we were surrounded on all sides of our position, that we had no reinforcements. They promised that they would let us live if we surrendered. At least we would stay alive.
Did you stand in the corridor where our group stood and you too?
Yes.
They didn't even have to talk to you.
Yes. He said that if we had not engaged in dialogue, they would have thrown grenades at us and would not have talked to us, because there is one group here, another group there, mortars on the other side, RPGs there, bogs here. We would not even have had time to dodge.
Yes.
That is so. In fact, anyone would have done so, but they even entered into a dialogue. They said that they didn't need this war, these sacrifices either. They offered to surrender in order to keep us alive. We don't know the secrets of the army. We went all the way from prison to basement, from basement to basement and back. Nobody showed us anything. They told us to go and that's it. Let's go there. So we came here. Our first fight, we know nothing. We have no blood on our hands. We have killed no one, wounded no one. He immediately contacted the commander.
Ours?
Yeah. I was really worried that now we'd give the okay and they'd take us there and just.
If they wanted to kill you, they would have killed you.
You know, anyway.
Where's the wounded man?
The injured man was immediately given first aid.
Is he here too?
He's in the hospital.
It's clear. How did he get hurt?
Side.
From a shot?
Shrapnel wound.
Shrapnel wound. You were captured. It's no longer interesting. Have you been told who you are fighting for? Who are you fighting? What are you fighting for?
We are at war with the collective West.
Wow. You're the first person to ever use the term collective West. What is the collective West?
Opponents of Russia.
What has your Russia done to make everyone against it? Can you tell me what you did?
I don't know much about politics.
This is where I say, are you serious? Tell me, which of you know about this politics? Which of you can give me an answer on this subject?
I think very few people know. It's all decided from above.
They benefit from having people like you who don't understand anything.
It's easiest to manage a herd that knows nothing.
Yes, that's how it is.
Yes.
Who do you think will win?
I hope we come to something common, unified.
What can we come to? We will come to a unified outcome. We will win, that's for sure. The only question is, when will this year's Independence Day come and our tanks drive through Red Square? That's when it'll be good. Would that be a victory?
If you get to Moscow, of course.
We don't need this. You'll destroy yourselves from the inside out. You said we'd agree on who would negotiate with whom?
I would like to see some sort of agreement reached and all the sharp edges smoothed out.
What are sharp corners? How do you smooth them out? You've already smoothed out several major cities. You've killed so many people, civilians, soldiers, defenders.
This is.
How many generations does it take to get over it? Do you have children?
Daughter.
I can tell you that your daughter, how old is she?
18.
Your daughter will be paying us for the rest of her life. You know, there are compensations, that is, part of her salary will be transferred to us. You should know that as well. You were sent to die in a foreign country. Can you tell me what idea you came to kill for? Without taking into account your personal motivation, can you tell me why?
No.
Are you defending something? You are told that you are protecting the Russian-speaking population that is here.
Here?
Yes, in Ukraine.
Did they ask for it?
Now you're all going to write in the comments that it's more interesting to talk to prisoners because they're actually smarter.
Guys, don't go to war. This war is not our war. If they invaded our home, we'd go to war. However, it is not entirely clear what is going on here. The attitude and position is that, in general, it is all evil. Take care of your families. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of yourself and do not get involved in all this.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Who are you?
Your husband is in captivity. He is with me. He wants to talk to you. If you want to talk to him, you must agree to have this conversation recorded and published.
He is fine? Is he whole?
Talk to him. I won't tell you everything about him. I'll put him on the phone. Do you give your consent?
What?
Do you give your consent or not?
Yeah. Is he okay with that?
No, I don't mind.
Then how did I get your number?
Oh, okay.
You do not say where you are or who is with you in captivity.
I got it. Hello, my sunshine.
Yes.
Hello.
Hey, are you okay? Are your arms and legs okay?
My arms and legs are intact. I'm alive, practically healthy. And our command has never bothered to tell me where I am.
No one reported anything, no.
Naturally.
While we are only guessing about you from the fortune-telling cards, we know that you were supposed to get in touch the other day, that you are not disabled, all your limbs are intact. There are some health difficulties and the fact that you are limited, cannot act.
Tell me when I'm coming back to you.
Can you tell me when Putin is going to die?
It is impossible to guess about Putin. He has a strong defense, even strong magicians who watch him get sick and die. It immediately bounces off him, because famous personalities have strong protection.
Predict from the cards when Ukraine will win.
We don't predict that, we can only look at the personal, we only learn. For example, you can guess for love.
All right, read the cards when our President Zelensky performs in Red Square.
It's massively popular. We can only guess on cards about personal relationships.
Okay, when am I going to be in Red Square?
To drink tea.
Your date is required for this.
Okay, I'll tell you the date, I'll give you everything.
If you get a chance, tell me about me too, about when I'll be back.
We don't need you here, all this time to feed you, to treat you.
Your coworkers.
He does not know.
I don't know. Don't ask such things. It's all individual.
They were abandoned by their commanders. No help came to them. They fought and were captured. Are you not interested in politics?
No.
Look at Vladimir Zolkin's YouTube channel. There will be an interview with your husband. Show this interview at the military enlistment office or somewhere else. I don't know where you should apply, considering that he was a convict. Tell them he's alive, in captivity, to be put on the POW exchange lists. That's how you can help him. Sitting at home and laying out cards is not likely to help you.
All my darlings. See you later. Hang in there. I love you.
We, too.
Bye. I hope all be fine. Love you.
I kiss you bye.
Telegram. Are you happy?
Thank you very much.
What did we do wrong?
Absolutely nothing.
We can cancel everything and wait for the Red Cross.
No.
I don't think I forgot to ask anything. Thank you for the conversation. I didn't even give you a microphone.
Thank you, too.